Good morning and welcome to the beautiful West LA Courthouse. I'm here with my friend Mike Lim and Bridget Gambel, and we are going to talk to you today about how to fine-tune your body and your Ollie to get a better pop and try to get up that stage. That's the biggest stage there is. It's kind of the bar that people set in skateboarding. If you're in Southern California and you haven't Ollied up the stage yet, you gotta get out here and take care of it. First go. Feel free to Ollie up the stage while we're talking. Unless you want to be our guinea pig who doesn't normally, you don't normally Ollie up this thing, right? Okay.
This is Mark.
Hello.
Mark, how old are you?
I'm 30.
Mike here is going to talk a little bit about the anatomy that is your vehicle, and then I'm going to show you a couple yoga poses that help with that part of the anatomy that can help you Ollie a little higher and get up that stage today.
Sounds good.
I want to see it first go Ollie. Try to make it. Let's see what happens.
Let me have you lie on your back. I'm going to just check your hip flexibility, see if you're just not getting enough range of motion through your hips to actually let you get up. And you can there.
Just like a
Stretch on that.
resistance.
Okay. Wow, you actually have a lot more internal rotation than external rotation.
Yeah.
So it's a lot of flicking here.
A lot, yeah.
But for Ollie, your foot has to come in this way.
Okay.
See what I mean? Alright. He has a lot of flicking ability this way, but when you have to Ollie real high and the board comes up this way, your foot actually has to go the other way to accommodate. So we're going to try to increase some of his external range of motion of the hip and see if that helps him. So one like really good like hip mobilizer, hip opener is just what you're doing. But we go from here and then just back and forth.
Back and forth.
And you can kind of tell which hip has more mobility and in which directions. Recheck, go on your back again. Up. So we're already a lot better. Come up and try to Ollie up the stage again. When you're sliding your foot, if your foot or your hip doesn't allow it to come in here to let the board slide up, you're stuck here. And you have to have that external rotation to help slide your foot up.
Okay.
So, quick little tip that should help a lot of people that have tightness in the hips and can't bring their feet up high enough to get up on the stage. So, hopefully that helps.
So, Limb Dr. Mike showed you how to stretch out your hips a little bit to get a little bit more range of motion and suck up your feet. But I wanted to touch on the point that most people think that they just need to be able to hop up high enough to get on the stage. But you gotta remember, you got a board, trucks and wheels. So it's not so much just jumping up this high, you literally have to jump up that much higher. Visualize another maybe 3.5, 4 inches of suck up, if you will, to get onto the stage. Something to consider. Now Bridget has some really good tips about how to kind of practice getting up there.
The first yoga pose I wanted to talk about is chair pose or Utkatasana. And I think Limb Dr. Mike touched on it earlier about that 90-degree angle in the knee joint, and that's super important. Your knees are stacked over your ankles and you want to keep your knees there, and you start to bring your pelvis back and your tailbone towards the ground, just like you're sitting back into a chair. Arms forward. Okay. If you have trouble doing that, a great way to practice is using a wall. So even just something like this to make sure keeping your 90-degree angles intact. The other yoga pose I would like to talk about is a squat, static squat. So you want your knees or your feet a little further than shoulder distance apart. So like this. And then you want to try to keep your knees drawing over your ankles, sort of aiming towards your second toe. Drop your tailbone down, and then when you come up with a hop. Oh, nice 90-degree angles. Do you feel your core sort of activating?
Yes.
Core is an important part, and then also we have these tibialis anterior muscles right on the outside of our shin bone, and that sort of helps flex our feet. So that's an important part of falling up the stage. Feet shoulder distance apart. Sit down. And first we're just gonna hop straight up. First go. Okay, 1, 2, 3. All right, now we're gonna step back and come into a squat and then hop up the stage. yoga pose I'd like to talk about is tree pose. That's when you're just balancing on one leg. So let's take the weight out of the left leg. Open it up to the left. And just bring that foot up to your calf muscle. And then maybe see if you can bring it to your thigh. Whoa. Oh, nice. Oh, so zen. All right, into that almost tree pose. Hey! All right, perfect. That's it.
Before you do like any type of explosive movement, if you have to jump up something really high, this is a good hip mobility plus a good glute activation exercise. So you know, like I go back here and kind of figure out which side's tighter. I'm like, all right, on my left. If I want to work that, I go over it, squeeze this, and then slowly bring it down. Up, down, and only do it like 3 or 5 times, so you don't want to tire it out. You just want to make sure it's firing. And then try whatever you're doing again, and it should help a bit. So yeah, just little things like that. Think of your shin as a back and a front. You want, this is firing here, right? But it's pulling on this. So if this is tight, it's not letting this pull with full force. So a lot of times people have issues with fully extending their ankle. It's because they have so much tightness right here. And with a lot of skaters, it's because of that flick, that bringing your foot up constantly over and over again. So if you ever feel like you have weakness going this way, make sure this isn't grabbing onto it, not letting it fully pop.
We're focusing on today the tibialis anterior muscle, and earlier the squats, the chair pose, all those other things we were doing were activating that muscle, and now on the opposite end of the spectrum we're using this restorative posture to bring it back to a state of balance, stretching it out, bringing your body back to homeostasis, its natural state of harmony. It's all really important. If you're activating muscles, if you're strengthening muscles, they also need to be stretched out and relaxed as well.
All right, we've gone over some stuff to help you all get the stage a little easier. Let's see if it helped you out.
So what we've shown is that there's really no magic trick to skateboarding, and that's kind of rad. That's what we know about skateboarding, is that it teaches you to become a good learner. So there's no doubt in our mind that even if you didn't have these skills that we were talking about today, you would figure this out eventually, right? But even with new skills, it's a process. One thing to consider, just from a regular skateboarding standpoint, is adjust your speed and adjust your tempo. You can start by going a little bit faster and ollie a little bit further away. But one thing to remember, as soon as you get up, you don't need to stand up. You can kind of just hang out in a squat for a second. And so you're really just sucking up your feet and staying there, and then letting the courthouse come underneath you. Does that make sense? You got it right here. Good.
Hell yeah. Yeah, Mark. Thank you. All right, we'll see you next time.
Easy.
Thank you. Well, thanks for joining us at the West LA Courthouse. Now you got some expert tips from Dr. Mike and Bridget Gambel. And come to the courthouse. This is a perfect place to really test your chops when it comes to an ollie. Now that you got some tools to fine tune your pop, make it happen.
Couple of pros right here. They teach you that in doctor school?